Every year, a new camera drops and the internet will tell you everything you own is suddenly obsolete. But what if the camera you bought 2 or 3 years ago is still genuinely one of the best tools you can buy for the money? Yes, I own 4 Panasonic LUMIX S5II. It looks customized, but yeah. So I coupled this with my 105 f1.4, which I use for majority of my shoots outdoor. And in 2026, I have zero plans to replace any of them. So you might be wondering, why do you have 4? Yeah, because I use it for my podcast. You can see I'm in a podcast studio, and my wife will build for content and to have interaction with my friends. So today, I want to break down exactly why the S5II is still an incredible option for probably mid-level creators or top tier, and what the real limitations are. Not just the internet hype now, and this is whether you should grab one right now while the deals are better than ever. The truth is, you always get deals for this. So before you ask, I'm not a hoarder actually. There's actually a method to the madness for owning 4 of these cameras. So when you find a camera that just works, the style, sometimes the smartest move is to double down instead of constantly chasing the next shiny thing. So I have different bodies set up for different shooting scenarios. I have different lenses, which stays mounted for different picture profiles, stay locked in. I mean, I use a lot of the custom modes. I think all of them, I use basically all to show you how I use it. Probably if you want me to do a video of how I use it, then I'm gonna do that in another video. So it saves me time on set and in the field also, and it means I always have a backup ready to go because I have more cameras. Also, when I have to shoot, maybe to have an extra shooter or something, I can always give it to them. And because I love to shoot to help my friends with wedding videos too, I also like to have different angles when I shoot. So honestly, the S5 Mark II is at a price point where right now buying a second or a third body would make more financial sense than jumping into a completely new system. Now, if you notice, we have the S1, the S12, the S1R2. I got some deals, but I felt like I'm not sure yet. So let's go into what actually matters when you're using this camera day to day. The first thing is the colors. This is the number one reason I fell in love with the S5 Mark II, and I've never looked back. Now, some people complain about sharpening if you use the S5, if you use this, if you use that. But usually I've noticed creators speak from their point of view. Many times your clients might not see these things, or the people you're doing to help, because I do more of helping others. So you don't need to be too picky with this when you shoot. I mean, the colors are good. I don't have problem with the sharpening, and I think the camera is plainly gorgeous. I can hype this camera. Like anytime I speak to people about cameras, I always refer this camera. So whether I'm shooting vlog, that's for video, which I'm doing right now, and I grade later, or I'm actually using my own LUT. So I created a LUT and I put it in the camera, and it's a custom LUT. And sometimes you can use the Panasonic built-in LUT too, which is some of the profiles built in with a custom LUT loaded. You'll see many times the skin tones are natural, the greens are rich. Sometimes I even have to turn down the greens because it depends on the style I want for the shoot, and the overall image would have this cinematic quality that I really have to fight in post. Sometimes even in post, I feel I do too much, so I have to dial it down a bit. So you can load up to 39 LUTs directly into the camera. Now with the latest firmware update, and this is one of the beautiful things about this camera. I'm going to speak about it later, but let me just say it now. The camera, you always have latest firmware updates, and it makes the camera better. Although you might not have major shifts, like maybe having a tail light on in front and all of that, but you have major things that would help. So in this latest firmware, it means you can always preview your final look while you're shooting. And for creators who try to deliver fast turnarounds, this is really a massive time saver. Now, I know some of you are rolling your eyes because overheating was the boogeyman of mirrorless cameras for years. And I think the S1 Mark II, S1 IIe, the S1R2, I think it's a big debate now. Some people say it overheats and different things. Some would say the latest firmware update solved the problem. But for the S5 Mark II, I mean, sometimes I even leave the cameras, because in my studio at home, I leave it on. Sometimes I forget to turn it off with the lights on, and it's still, though when I get back, it's usually hot, but I've never had it overheat on me. So the heat dissipation system is nice, and across the 4 bodies, I've had countless of hours of recording, and I've never had that overheat shut down, not even once. So when I was looking at, should I go to the S1II or the S1 IIes, when I heard about the overheating, I know LUMIX, I think they are good with solving such problems, but I don't want to be in that problem at all. And so I also have unlimited recording in the S5 Mark II, 4K 10-bit, no timer warnings at all, no anxious glances at the camera. Like, once I put it somewhere, the only reason why you should be anxious is if you don't have good storage. I know people rave about having 2 storage or 2 memory cards, but I have just one. But I went for something that I think they have a warranty, but I have like a 512 gig on my SD card. Although you have 2 SD cards, but I just use one and it has never failed me. The only time the SD card failed me was at a wedding, and someone tripped over. I used the dummy battery options, and someone tripped over it and it went off, and so that really got me crazy. I think till today I still have the footage, but I'm still trying to get it back. But what I've done to solve that is I now use V-mount batteries. I mean, that was my early days about 2 years ago, but I now use V-mount batteries. I also use a lot of NPF batteries to charge it. So you don't need to invest hundreds of dollars in the CFX Express cards just to start shooting. This would save you a significant chunk of money when you compare to the S1II, the S1 IIes that will require such expensive cards. And I've heard too that the expensive cards, many times they have the overheating issues. So these higher end bodies, they usually require some of these expensive CF Express cards. And so rather than, I know there's a perk there, because the CF Express cards, usually I heard you can transfer data more. So when you are getting to that top tier level where you shoot movies or shoot high end productions and you need the Apple ProRes and all of that, go for it. I know you can pay for Apple ProRes and convert and do that, or get the S5II, but I stick with the S5II because I don't need it. Much of what I do is to document events, document stuff, and so people can watch it. So I don't need the Apple ProRes. I think my vlog 422 10-bit and my I don't have to shoot in RAW too. So with my .mov files, I think I'm really good, and majority of creators would be good here. So for mid-level creators, if you're reinvesting your businesses or your business, you can at least reduce the price you're spending on cards and other things, and look at it. So when you keep those costs down, I think it will matter in the long run. And that's what I'm doing. So in case you shoot very high content, or you shoot Apple ProRes, or you shoot RAW and all of that, I've never had the cost to do that. With the vlog and my MOV files, I'm always good to go. And I think a good number of people will be good to go. You don't need the ProRes and all of those things. So now where the LUMIX will shine again is in the active image stabilization. So when I got into the whole world of video, obviously if you don't have a gimbal, you look you look like you're not good. And so I got a gimbal. I'm going to do a review of that too, the RS4 Pro, and some of the things I wished I did not buy. But I'll do a review of it, and just subscribe if you've not done that to see my review of it and how to use it with the LUMIX system, because they have some form of agreement when you use it. But I bought it then, and as at that time I did not know so much about my image stabilization. Now, some years later, obviously I've gone through the camera over and over again, and I shot an event, and I shot it handheld all through, and this guy performed so well. Yes, I still take it, because when people see you on a gimbal and you have it all rigged and it's all strapped on you, you look like one good guy. But the truth is, the image stabilization is legitimately impressive, really, really impressive. So when you have walk and talk content, I don't know why you use this for vlogging. I don't know why. I think it's really heavy. But when you have B-rolls, run and gun, you just want to get, just B-rolls for your video, I think the IBIS works so well. Even for documentary style shooting, the stabilization will hold up remarkably well without the gimbal. So is it gimbal smooth? No, but it's smooth enough that if I left my gimbal at home, I could do more shoots than, I've done more of that recently. I just take it for the shoots and I shoot handheld all through. One thing is you can also stabilize in DaVinci Resolve, which is really nice. So one of the major updates, of which one of the reasons I got it was the face detection autofocus, because it's a big upgrade. I came from a Sony background and I wanted to have that face detection autofocus. So the S5, that's not the best for that. So I know you can do manual focus, and I also do manual focus. Now it's nice because you can see what you're doing, but I think the autofocus is a very good addition because it is fast, it's reliable, and the subject tracking with the face and eyes, it works really well for solo creators who are filming themselves. Also, you can have autofocus lock, where probably you're in an event, you have to check other cameras. You can just tap it, lock it, and it's there. Is it like Sony that I've used? No, it's not the level of the Sony. It's not the Sony level eye autofocus. But to be honest, for 90% of users, you will really not need such high level. I mean, just imagine maybe I did this and I'm putting this back. I think the autofocus will work well. Though I used it recently in a church meeting, and for some reason the autofocus went and the operator was not there, so we had a blurred image all through, but for the price and for what it's and the colors I get, I mean, as a mid-level creator, I think it still gets the job done. So when you have looking at some of the complaints in the 4K 60, people complain about the crop. When I mean 4K 60, I mean 4K 60 frames per second. But I'm not. I think I don't really care really, because if it's crops, I'll just back up a bit and I'm good. I know it might be a thing for people, but for the price and for how I've built a system around it. But here's my honest take. It has never been an issue in my actual work. If I need full frame, I shoot at 30p. If I need slow motion, the slight crop at 60p is a trade-off I'm happy to make. So most of my audience isn't pixel peeping the edges of my frame. And this is where I think every creator should always sit back and ask, would my audience, especially if you're just starting out or you're just doing this as a hobby or something for your family and friends, you should ask yourself, would they have some issues with all of this? Because the full width 4K 60p is not a deal breaker. And if it is not for me, I hope that for 80% of people, it should not be, because if it's not for your specific workflow, I think it's fair to not think about it. So for majority of creators making YouTube content, client work, or even social media, I don't think this is an issue. So I've seen a bit of complaint around some people online. They've reported stock pixels or hot pixel issues with the S5 Mark II. And I want to be upfront. I have seen those threads really. Now, across my 4 bodies, maybe I've never experienced this. Not a single stock pixel. Probably I've not checked so well, but I don't think I've experienced it. I've never had a stock pixel that showed up in my footage or stills. Maybe your mileage may vary, but I can only speak from my own experience, and it has been flawless. So if you're concerned, Panasonic, they do have a built-in pixel refresh function in the menu. It's really an easy fix if it ever comes up, but it has never happened to me. One more thing, in the burst mode, this would be my genuine complaint, because if you're shooting in burst mode and you feel the buffer, this camera can take a moment to recover. It needs time to write all of the data into the SD cards, and during that time, it will really feel sluggish. So if you can do away with burst mode, it's fine. For me, I really don't use it because I time my shots really well. Bam, 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 I'm getting my shot. So one other thing too is the startup time. When you power on the camera, sometimes it's not as instant as possible. So there usually will be a brief delay, and there'll be that brief delay just before you're ready to shoot. So if you're coming from a DSLR or even some faster mirrorless bodies, you will notice that slight issue. Again, for me and for many of the creators, is this a deal breaker? No. But if you are into sports or fast action photography and you need to fire your camera really fast, so it is worth knowing about. But for video first creators, this barely registers in day-to-day usage. Now, Panasonic released the S1 Mark II and the S1 Mark IIe in 2025. And yes, they are very great cameras. I spoke about them before, and I have a section of which I want to do now. I'm speaking about them. I've heard, I've not seen it or touched it. Probably if Panasonic is nice, they can let me have a feel of it. But I've heard you have improved stabilization, you have the fancy tilting. Yes, a lot of people speak about the tilt in here. I think sometimes it can be a disadvantage for me when I have the HDMI and other things plugged in, no doubt. But I mean, it's fine. But I heard you have some nice features like the HEIF output. But the thing here is that the S1 IIe, it still uses the same 24 megapixel sensor as this guy. So the image quality would be extremely similar. And the price, the S1 IIe is around $2,500, just the body only. That's nearly double of what you can pick up an S5 Mark II for right now. So you are buying the same camera with the same sensor, almost 2 times the price, just with some of the extra things, which could be fine. So unless the S1 IIs, unless their specific upgrades will solve a problem I actually have right now, I don't think I can justify it. Or maybe I'm too poor, I must be sincere. Because if I have a lot of money, probably I could buy it. I mean, good gears are nice. So the only thing that might tempt me to switch systems genuinely is when I have a camera that will have internal ND filters. Personally, I have chosen not to buy it, and that's just for my workflow. I don't use it. So I'm sure you're gonna ask, oh, so when you're outdoors and you want to shoot a video, what do? Man, I crank up. So I go to the natural mode, drop my ISO to 100, and I still get good colors. I crank up my shutter speed, bam. Sometimes I drop my aperture but I'll lose the blurriness effect so that I don't lose the real life motions. I don't use the shutter angle. I mean, I can always calculate, and I'm a bit smart, so I don't use it. But I still hope to have a day where we'll have ND filters in full frame mirrorless cameras at this price range. It will be a game changer. I think that's one major reason I might have to move. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. and that would be the price. The S5 Mark II launched at just around $2,000 for the body, but right now you can find it significantly cheaper. I've seen deals as low as $1,200. That is so good. I've seen legit deals on Amazon for $1,600 for the body, and I've seen some kit deals with a 20 to 60 millimeter lens, and they even have better value. Though for some reason I never got the 20 to 60 millimeter lens. I just went for the Sigma lenses, and I have a lot of Sigma lenses here, and I have one Mickey 50 millimeter, which I have on one of the cameras I have. I'm going to do a review on it to see how I've been using it. But back to the camera, at that price, I think you're getting a full frame mirrorless camera with face detection autofocus. You have unlimited 4K recording. You have incredible color science. You have fantastic stabilizations, and you have dual SD card slots, which I use just one. So if you try finding all of that in another camera at this price, I think I'll wait. I'm not sure you will get it, except for some other LUMIX cameras. I think the LUMIX S5, which is around $800 to $600 now, and maybe the LUMIX S1H, which is another good camera, but all of them would not pass the autofocus test for me. And because usually I go as a solo band, I just want to ensure that at least something is going well. Now, I don't want you to sleep on the L mount lens. I've spoken about it. This is the Sigma 105 f1.4. Very good lens. I think it's been discontinued. I don't know why, but you have a lot of you have Panasonic systems. I don't have any Panasonic lens because I try to go for budget lens options, but you have Panasonic. I have all my lenses are Sigma. I have the 24 to 70. I have two of that. I have the 70 to 200. I have the 105 f1.4 and the Make 50 millimeters, the Nifty 50. And so a lot of companies are coming into the L mount system. You have, I think I've seen Viltrox, I've seen the Make, I've seen Siri, and some other lens options who have come into the L mount. So you have access to some extremely good glass. Often they are very competitive, especially their prices, usually very competitive when compared to Canon and Sony E-mount equivalents. Now, so if you're a YouTube creator, a wedding videographer, a content creator, and you're a content creator for brands, even if you're a freelance filmmaker, or honestly anyone who needs a reliable workhorse, this camera will deliver beautiful footage for you without breaking the bank. I think the S5 II, it deserves a serious look. Many times I go to events and then I see someone, a photographer or videographer, and I say, oh, what do you shoot? Oh, I shoot Sony, I shoot Canon. And sometimes I feel bad. There's a time I had to ask ChatGPT that, come on, what's happening? But really, I think with the LUMIX system, you're actually getting a good value at a good price. So if you want to upgrade from the crop sensors, the GH5, GH7s, I think you can get this mirrorless body. Some people, if you also want to upgrade from an older mirrorless body and you want the full frame without full frame prices, I think this is your camera. So if you're also already in the L mount system, this should be a no-brainer. It could be your second body or even your primary body, because you can always match the colors together. So the only people I wouldn't recommend it are those who are, sorry guys, they are dedicated sports photographers. They need very fast burst recoveries, or creators who absolutely must have full width 4K 60p. Sorry, I forgot. This guy also, I shoot majorly in 6K. You have 6K, 6K 30, you have 6K 24. You don't have 6K 60. But yes, I shoot 6K on this camera too. So if you don't want any crop, I think You can go to some of the high-end systems, the S1 Mark II, S1 R2, and better ones. And if Lumix want to send it out for me to check it out, probably I might fall in love with it. But I believe for everyone else, this is genuinely hard to beat. So the Panasonic LUMIX S5 is not the newest camera on the block. I think this is 3 to 4 years after it was released. You will not have the flashiest spec sheet. It doesn't even have a built-in ND filter, and it won't win every single comparison chart, but it is reliable. I mean, this is what I've used almost every day. Like, I can tell you where all the settings are just by telling you where it is, to show you how conversant I am with it. It produces beautiful images, beautiful video. It has never overheated on me, and the price today is ridiculous. There's a reason I own 4 of these, and there's a reason I'm not selling a single one, probably until I get internal ND filter. So if you're thinking about picking one up, I'll leave some links below. I don't have affiliate links, but you can check Adorama, B&H, and Amazon. If you already own one, drop a comment. Let me know your experience. Let me know if there's something I should look out for in it, because I love to learn more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.